Now, the National Cybersecurity Centre has warned that cyber attacks on the UK have increased dramatically, and they say it is almost inevitable that the country will be hit by a life-threatening incident. Well, these include low-level attacks on the public, like fake emails, but also high-level attacks on infrastructure from rogue states. Well, I'm joined now in the studio by Al-Nemrat, a senior lecturer in cybersecurity at the University of East London. Good morning to you, Amir. This sounds incredibly worrying when the National Cybersecurity Centre say life-threatening attacks. What do they mean by that?
I mean that we could summarize or define this by the incident happened to the NHS last year and so on, when that has closed down some of the hospitals and for example, operations has to be rescheduled, and some of these operations were critical for some of the individuals or citizens, and this is what is threatening attacks. However, there is as well some of the attacks they could targeted infrastructure like water, power supply, electricity, grid utilities. All these type of attacks, this is life-threatening at the end of the day. As well, we could, for example, because all the now that we are more in the autonomous weapons. And these weapons are monitored and controlled by computer systems. And as well, if there is any type of hacking into these systems, that will be a disaster for everyone.
It's a fascinating insight, this report, into just what the NCSC are doing on a daily basis to keep the UK safe. They are saying that they have defended the UK from more than 10 attacks per week. Where are these attacks coming from? Who's carrying them out?
I mean, there is, I could assume this type of attacks is coming maybe from state sponsors, hackers.
Yeah, they're saying hostile nation
or
states.
Hostile nations sometimes, you know, for many reasons, and depend on the reason behind of that attack. Some of these attacks could be just for espionage. Some of these to cause harm and damage the infrastructure, for example. However, the National Cybersecurity Agency, they are doing very well in terms of preparing UK to be ahead of the curve, but however is 10 out of how many attacks? This is the question here. This is not clear. I mean,
yeah, it's interesting when they say hostile nation states. They're being very diplomatic in their language there. They mean Russia. They mean China. They mean North Korea. What capabilities do those states have compared to that of the UK in terms of protecting itself?
I mean, as these countries, they are more, they are advanced countries in technologies, and the advanced technologies enable cyber attacks at nation levels. And these, I mean, maybe different, these nations are different from the UK because of the culture. I mean, the culture play a role there, because in Russia and North Korea, the hackers, they are praised and pointed at them like a clever boys, while here in UK, they are treated as criminals, which is the difference. I mean, that is...
It's interesting, this report does paint the UK as a victim here. We are under attack, but what capabilities does the UK have to carry out something like this? Obviously, that is something that the National Cybersecurity Centre would never talk about, but what goes on behind the scenes?
They did talk that. I mean, a couple of months ago, they have carried a cyber war attack against ISIS, for example, when they said they shut down
their system. But that's different to carrying out an attack on a state, another state.
Yeah, I mean, what is, I mean, really here important to understand or to highlight that is when we say state, for example, these attacks is carried by cyber hackers or hackers. It could be one individual or could be a group of cyber hackers. And always there is really, it is not an easy task to identify this group, despite there is kind of profiling for this group in terms of the tools they are using, the tactics they are using to underpin that this type of attacks are coming from Russia or from North Korea, for example.
And just quickly, if infrastructure in this country is attacked, how easy is it to rectify?
It is not that. It depends how aggressive that attack will be, and depends on what the tools and the bespoke tools and the technology used. But it's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, sometimes maybe we have to go with that attack. But the most important as well to find out the tactics followed by the hackers or that states to prevent us from similar attacks in the future.
Okay, Amir Al-Nemrat, Senior Lecturer and Researcher in Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics at the University of East London. Thank you for speaking to us here about our top story on Sunrise this morning.